Hello everyone, it's Elizabeth and I'm here at my art loft and I wanted to show you the finished book. Well, it's not finished yet. It has to get the rest of its fringe on and it has to, what else does, oh, and the sash to close it, which will be a ribbony type thing. But you can see the top is so that it's folded so that the front edge is all even when the back edge is even. Of course, when you open it up, it doesn't look like that. And the back edge, I got the front and the back covers put on. And I started on the fringe, and I, in all my wisdom, decided to do the fringe as a rainbow fringe so that I would have two that were red and two that were orange, two that were yellow, two that were green, two that were blue, and two that were violet. Well, I started it about 3 hours ago, and I got 4 strands done. So, I think I'm going to have to make a trip to the bead store to get some purple beads. I found that I don't have very many purple beads in my stash, but I did want to show you how I go about making the fringe. So what I do is I go and go through my stash and find all the colors that I need. In this case, green for this one, blue for this one. And I know if I didn't make them as long, I wouldn't have to have as many beads, but I really like the way it looks whenever it's that long. I know it's going to be hard for you to see it because the dangles try to fall to the side, but you can see that I think it looks pretty. I mean, it does obscure the back some so that you don't really see all the back, but I think when that peeks through, or you know, you can always move your beads to the side and see how the back looks, and I think it's gorgeous. So that's why I do it, is to make it pretty. And as far as them getting tangled up, you can actually dangle them out like this, and they usually will untangle themselves, and see, you can see that they have done so. So the blue, the darker blues at one side, then the blue, then the green, and then the lighter green that tends toward the yellow. So I have yellow beads, so I'm going to try to string the next string of yellow, which will be yellow on this. And the first thing that I do is to take my glue, and I take a little tiny bit of it, get the pin off of my finger, and I put it on the end of the string, and that makes the string stiff on the end, so when I get ready to string my beads through it, it will go through the bead. Okay, so since we're doing yellow, I have a set that's here that is, I think those were purple ones I pulled out, so let's put those in the purple pile. First I went through my specialty beads, in other words, my beads that are bigger than the others, and so on, and I found these orange ones. I found some orange ones there, and I found some red ones here. I found some yellow ones, and then this is the purple ones over here. Well, there's some red ones there, and these are the yellow specialty beads. I have one that's the shape of a leaf. I have an actual gold bead that I think I'm going to put on there somewhere because it's virtually yellow. And I have one that's a kind of a crystal. It's not a real crystal. I think that may even be plastic, but I'm not really caring if there are plastic and glass beads mixed. I know that's a sin for a lot of bead makers, jewelry makers, but it's for a fringe and it's for fun on the back of the book to look neat. It's not to be, well, that might be glass anyway. It's not to be, you know, worn as jewelry. It's just, you know, book jewelry, and books don't care if they have plastic or glass beads. Okay, so the first thing that I have been doing on this is I've tried to pick a bead that would repeat through there. So you can see that this bead repeats. 1, 2, skip a specialty bead, 1, 2, and then it appears again down here with another repeat, and there it is again down there. On this one, it was the green. Now on this one, it's this dull kind of blue. It's a matte shaped colored bead, and I usually don't use bugle beads in my fringes, but these looked good and they looked like they would not tear up my string, so I went ahead and used them. Okay, so I have this one ready to go. It has the glue on the end of it, and I'll just get these guys out of the way so that they're not in my way. and we will start stringing as soon as I decide what my, and I need a container to put these out in so that they will be, get that dust off of there so it doesn't look funny. I did go through my paper beads and decide on which ones to use, and as you can see, I have the, let's put them here, the red ones here, then orange, then these are the 2 yellow, then the blues and the greens, of course, have already been put on the book, and these are the 2 purples that I'm planning to use. And I just put those in little, I bought a bunch of paper beads, or I got them, they were given to me. I don't know where, I think they were given to me, yes. I don't think I purchased them. But at any rate, they are, I have a whole bunch of paper beads, and I like them, and I use them for my fringes because I think they're just fun, you know, fun things to have. Plus, there is a reason for the paper bead, and I'll show you that as I get to it. So, we're starting out with yellow, and we want to decide what's our repeat bead. And I think I'm going to pick this, I think I'll pick, for this one, I think I'll pick this light clear yellow bead. Okay, so we'll start with 1 clear yellow bead and string it on there. And I have been doing, on most of these, I've been doing like 2 of the same thing, and then started with my specialty bead. So I do 2 of those, and then something else. And in this case, I think I'm going to use, and that one's an orange one, so we'll put that in with the oranges so that I'll get, you know, this was a mix, a bead mix, so it, get your guys out of there. Okay, there's a different kind of bead. It's a triangular bead, so I'm going to put that one on there for interest. Sometimes holding the bead's the hardest part. Okay, so then I'll put 2 more of my clear yellows. 1, 2, and now we're ready for a specialty bead, and we will put, we'll pick, I think I'll pick this round one. This kind of a, see, it's kind of a bigger round. So we'll pick that. 2 more of my clear yellow beads. And, you know, you can use a formula like this to, you know, in that, or you can just, you know, stop it and say, okay, well, I don't want any more clear yellow beads on there. I'm going to do something else just to make it more interesting. And maybe I'll put on this one that looks like it's a piece of candy. Then I also look at how it relates to the back of the book and what's already on there. I do have some little yellow butterflies. They're actually Swarovski crystals that I probably will be using on this. Ooh, I have some yellow ones in this bead mixture too that I could use. Let's look at those as well, because they're a solid yellow rather than a clear yellow. So let me get a couple of those out to use. And you say, why would I use expensive jewels like Swarovski crystals on this? And my answer is that they're going to remain in my stash most likely if I don't use them. So therefore, it would be a good idea to use them on something like this so that they would have a life and be out there in the world and be happy little beads on something that they can you know, relate to and be pretty on which they can be pretty. I don't know if it doesn't sound like proper English, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Anyway, these are some of the yellow beads that are in this mix. This mix is a, I buy all these different ones. I purchased these different ones at different times when they were on sale, 50% off or 40% off or whatever. This is a tapestry mix from Bead Treasures, I believe, and they have all different kinds, but this one has a lot of different pretty colors that you can, you know, in it that you can use for your, you know, if you're doing beading projects. I just use it for the fringe. It's even got a little shell that was in there. I don't know what that has to do with tapestry mix, but it was in there, so there it is. It's got that weird one there. It's pink. I like this one too. Let's get this one out and we'll use it. Okay, so this is how I do my fringe. Oh, come on, you. Where did you go? There you are. Isn't that a pretty bead? Look at that. Okay. So let's continue with where we were, and I think I'll put that one on. I'll put one more clear bead on, and then I'll put that one on. Let's make sure that these are lining up nicely with the other ones, and they are. Clear yellow. That might not have been as clear as the other ones. Yeah, it is. It's good. Then we're going to put this weird one here that I just found on. It's kind of a tube bead. And see, as I do it, I hold it up to the other ones to see how it relates. And mainly you want the green ones that are going to be next to it. You don't want a huge bead, you know, here, and then another huge bead right opposite. It'll look kind of either contrived or, and in fact, that's a little annoying to me. So I will take this many off and I will put them back on, but I'll leave one of the clear yellows out so that I can have this bead up closer, up higher on the string in relation to the green bead. Oh, come here. Make sure you don't drop them on the floor. I already have 3 on the floor. Come on, let go. And the hardest part is finding the hole in there with the little string, my string needle that I made with my glue, which I did not close my glue back up. And if I don't do that, I could have a catastrophe on that. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. Okay, I think I had. And let's look at that again with my green, next to my green. Okay, I am going to put a little butterfly on here. I have these little tiny, see it? Because it's a butterfly journal, and I'm liking it more and more, and I'm going to give you the walkthrough in a little while. I think it's turning out really pretty. Oh, okay, come here, you. Very happy with how the pages turned out and how the beads are turning out. Don't want that there. Yeah, that looks good enough there. Okay, I think I'm going to put another one of these. A lot of times when I'm crafting, I find that my fingernails get in the way if they're too long. But when you're beading, it's really easy to pick up a bead if you have a longer fingernail there. Which one was I going to put on next? Let's see what we've got here. What we're up next against. Okay. Right there. So I think I'm going to put some smaller beads here. I think I'm going to actually use this one, which is very yellow, but and see, this strand will be very yellow because it's up next to the green, and then the next strand will be probably coppery because it's up next to the orange. So then I will be using these beads that are not quite as plain yellow as these are. I just want to get down to the bottom so that I can show you what I do with that. Okay, I need about 3 more beads. I'm not going to use you, so you might as well stand aside, dude. Stand aside. Okay, I am going to use you. So I actually put 2 of the same kind on there, and that makes a kind of a unit, so that you have, you know, bead, clear yellow, but bigger, and clear yellow, and then back to that kind of bead. And that your eye likes pattern, so it will like that. I need another clear yellow. To make a random bead string that looks pretty is harder than to make a patterned one, because if you have a patterned one, your eye really likes the patterns of that. And I'm going to actually put on just another one of these. I can find the hole again. And I think I'm ready for my paper bead, and I am. I'm trying to make the paper beads all work right along the edge of the opening. And when you look at your paper beads, you need to look at them when you get ready to string them. And if they have anything crooked at the top, you need to trim that off so it's straight across. Because if it's crooked at the top, it sometimes will make your beads hang funny. Okay, so we fix that. And I'm going and since they're paper beads, they're made out of magazines or something. So sometimes you have to decide which side you want to have at the top. And I string as well left-handed as I do right-handed, sometimes better. But it's kind of hard to push this through the hole there and get it all the way out the edge, but I did. So we have that bead on there. Now we scoot everything up to where it's supposed to be. And then we will put the end beads on, which we're going to put another one of our repeat bead, which is the clear yellow. And we should have another specialty bead here. Now this one is a specialty bead, but it's got a wire through it, so I don't want to put that on there. I could take the wire out, but I'm too lazy. I'll use that for something else. This one's got a really big hole in it, but if it has one of these clear yellows on each end, it should work. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, one more clear yellow. And let's see how far we are, because I like my beads to barely touch the table. So when you move them, they kind of move back and kind of make some noise on the table maybe, but they barely touch the table. And I have one of these beads, which has a hole through the side, and that's a very good one to end your string of beads with, if you can find the hole, that is. Because then it's called a stopper bead. Otherwise, like this one, did not have a hole across it. So what I had to do was to put one of my beads across instead of going through the bead. See this little bead here? Instead of going through the bead just directly, then I went through it and went back through my beads, back up through the strand, and that's how we that's how we end it. We don't just tie a knot. So that's one way to end it, is to put it through a bead that would be called the stopper bead, and then when it dangles down, nothing falls off because that goes back up through there. And I'll show you what I do with that after it goes back up through there. But you can see how that works. Comes down through there, goes through this once, then the thread goes back up through these beads here and into the paper bead. And that's how we hide the end of it, is in the paper bead. And let's see if this actually touches the floor. Let me put it back through this bead. Touches the floor, touches the table, touches the floor. Okay, that looks like it's, yeah, touching like we want it to. Need to pull that up a little bit more. Come on, you, behave. Okay, nope, he doesn't touch. Just barely doesn't touch. What do we need? We need one more of the clear yellows. So we just put on one more of the clear yellows. Take this guy off, put on one more of the clear yellows, and we will have it. Or we could put on, I'm going to do that, put on this little flower bead. If it'll go through there for the second time. What? Yeah, well, okay, then we'll put on this bead. Put it up to where it needs to be. Go back through the little flower bead. Here's where the difficulty comes in. Well, not really too much, but you just slide it back through that little hole there. Oh, I like how that looks. We scoot it up to where it belongs. Pull that up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Come on, pull up. Okay, that looks good. So we can then thread this through the rest of these beads. And hopefully you've picked beads that have big enough holes that it will go through a second time. That's the one thing you do have to be mindful of, is the making sure that you can go through your beads at the bottom here twice So far we're good. Go through this one. Oh, come on, don't mess up. There we go. Okay, and then dangles down just right. Does it dangle down just right? Come on. Yeah, it can bend like that. Okay, just a little bit up. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to hide the string, and the way that I do that is I trim off the string so that it is as far as, you know, as far as up as it can be. So it's doubled there, and I take my glue and I put it on both strands, and I work it in with my fingers and twist the string as the string would normally be twisted, and the glue holds it. A little bit more at the top here. Okay, and if you want to get it loose, you can actually get that loose and restring your beads, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. But it gets hidden underneath of that dangle bead. I mean, sorry, the paper bead, and there you have your next string of things. So if we look at that, and these two have gotten a little bit twisted. Nice rainbowy starting looking thing. And that should hang down there like that. Don't mess up. There we go. That's good. Okay, so let me move the beads and we will do a walkthrough, because I promised you a walkthrough on it, and we've got about 8 minutes to do that, which is a little bit short of time. Let me just move some beads up there like that. Put everybody on that stack. Okay, so what I ended up, and the thing that's nice about these beads is I've left that much string so that you can put them up and totally out of your way. See how that works? Okay, so when you're opening your book, your strings will be out of the way. You open your book and it opens flat on the table. This, of course, is not flat because of the amount of pages you have. But since we have a bendable back, you theoretically could flip it around like this so that it is flat, totally flat. Okay, but we're not doing that today. We're just going to look at it. So this would be the first page that you have, and I folded it to the right. Can you see that? I'm going to make sure I'm in V here. And this is it does not have any pockets in it yet. I may or may not put any in it. It's really kind of a pretty butterfly journal that you can write. Like, you could write anywhere you want here. You could write here. You could write in this space. You know, maybe the red, you write one thing, and the blue, you write something else. A ballpoint pen will work. A pencil, not so much, because it's hard to see with the contrast. You wouldn't have enough contrast with your the pencil color, you know, with the color in behind it. But see how this works with this, because this is actually the same butterfly shape as that. Well, more or less. Not quite. Purple and purple. I left this so that it could be opened because I really like how that looks when it's opened. Purple and blue, and this has blue in the background, so you've got that. Open that like that. Pretty, pretty, pretty. This is the center of the first signature, so you have these two little pieces down here, which I haven't decided. If I decide I don't want to do anything with them, I'll cut them off. I may put some little butterflies on those just for fun, because I like butterflies. I bet you can't tell, right? Anyway, pardon me. It says, now this one I folded in a Z fold so that this would appear where I wanted it to appear. If you don't like that, I mean, if you had this book and you didn't like that, you could always cut this off, cut this piece off, and just glue that to there. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't do, you know, tear out a page and glue in a new page. I like these colors on this page. I think that's really pretty with the purple and blue and then the green in behind and then the orange butterflies to accent. This one not so much. That was a Stamp Off butterfly and it had way too much paint on it. And the background's not that great either. But, you know, if you colored this in with some kind of a marker or something, it might brighten it up. This one has a short edge, and what I was thinking I might do there is to actually sew in a couple of extra pages so you'd have an actual a tiny booklet type thing that you could write in. But this paper is so soft and supple that it would not necessarily hold the sewn in thing. So if I did that, I might have to reinforce it with kind of a, you know, a stiffer piece of paper, like the paper that I use for the real journal. This is the roll-off journal, but like the paper that I use for the real journal might, you know, add that as a cover to the little flip-out extra journal that I might put in there. Might. Haven't said I will. This one I liked this like this, and I like this like this. Okay, so that's a fold out again, so that you can see the whole thing. This one, when I was making it, I only stamped one butterfly on there, and I thought that was so pretty, I just left it. Didn't put more paint on it or anything. It does have a little bit, but not a whole lot. Again, this one I like the way that I folded it in. It still gives the frame look to it with the orangey frame. And then this side, it does not detract much from that butterfly because it's, you know, so green, so solid blue in the background. Another Z fold. I did a bunch of them, it seemed like, for a while, and then for a while I didn't. This is the center of the second section. I love these butterflies. I like the way that the gold is in the butterfly itself, and it's kind of outlined in orange. And you get that when you have your plate. Your gel plate has an orange layer under the gold that you're picking up. I like that. And this one didn't have it. That's the one that has that really pretty butterfly on the other side of that piece of paper. So that's why it didn't have anything else on it. This is a single stamp that has all those butterflies on it. I didn't use that much in creating the papers. I probably will glue this, you know, glue the top and bottom here and make that into a little tuck spot. I think that'll be fun. Of course, if you own this, you could glue something to any page that you didn't like or that you wanted, you know, extra stuff in there. There's plenty of room in the spine that will let you, you know, like glue in an extra page if you want, or tear out one and glue in one, or, you know, glue something on the edge of this if you want. Make it pockets or whatever. These butterflies I think are interesting, but I think they'd be prettier if they were outlined in something, so I might do that, or may leave it to the journal owner to do. That's really pretty there. The background here, it has blue and green and the gold. This has black and gold. Sometimes I just didn't want to get rid of the extra part. This is the third signature, center of the third signature. I didn't want to get rid of the extra flap that was flapped over there. You know, if you own this journal, you could just rip off all of these at their fold if you didn't like that extra fold there. Oops, I skipped the page. Some more of those guys that I talked about on the other side of them. You get two sets of everything. Of course, sometimes they don't look alike, because sometimes I did something on one side of the paper and then didn't do it on the other side of the paper. I like that. I think that's pretty. I think the orange is what makes it pretty, because it gives kind of a frame to it. That's the end of the third signature. Now we're in the green signature. It's only green on the outside, though. I did not try to get all green papers on the inside, although sometimes it happened. There's that same butterfly, but it's a different color. There's one piece of paper in here that's just gorgeous. Well, there's a couple of them. This butterfly that I carved out, that butterfly. Some of them are stamped, rubber stamps, of course. Purchasable. Center of the 4th signature. I like that cut. This is actually that. What is it called? It's a changeable color called. It's a purple and color shift. That's what it is from acrylic paint. That purple is, and so if you look at it one way, it looks purple, and the next way, it looks blue. These were mostly just, rolled off the color when I was doing my prints with the gel plate, and then when I was stamping off onto them, I, stamped off the stuff. But some of them I actually did go back and stamp on more butterflies because I didn't like the way that they looked, or they didn't have enough butterflies on them. That's not cheating, that's just enhancing it, yeah. This one has a lot of blue and orange stuff, it looks like. I did a blue and orange journal. I like the white on white. I think that looks pretty. The reason it's got these colors here is because it's the stamp had extra color on it. Look at this. This is just gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. It's got all different colors in it. And did you hear our fringe hit the table? But of course. Let's get that out there. I like this picture. I think that's pretty with the just 3 butterflies. Scoot that up so you can see it better. I'm running low on time, so if it times out on me, I'm so sorry. But I will show you it again maybe after I finish the fringe and everything else. And this is propped up on stuff, is why it's not laying flat. I like those colors together. Some more blue and orange. Sometimes I got heavy-handed on the rolling off sheets and did purposefully putting frames around the edges. Sometimes I just rolled it off in the middle and then stamped on it later. And this is the next to the last signature. I like this with the copper and that's annoying, and the blue in there. You can probably tell that the turquoise blue is one of my favorite colors. But I like the way that it interacts with other things. Please subscribe, share, comment, and what's the other thing? Oh, thumbs up. And I think we're out of time, so it's